In the year 2000, Netflix walked into Blockbuster's headquarters with a proposal. They wanted $50 million. A partnership, maybe an acquisition. The Blockbuster CEO laughed them out of the room. 10 years later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy with $900 million in debt. Netflix, worth $13 billion. But here's what nobody talks about. Netflix didn't win because of DVDs. They didn't win because of streaming. They won because of an algorithm so powerful, so disturbingly accurate, that it knew what you wanted to watch before you even knew yourself. And that algorithm wasn't just predicting your taste. It was shaping it. By the end of this, you'll understand how one company used artificial intelligence to destroy a $6 billion competitor, and why that same technology is now being used on you in ways you've never noticed. Let's go back to 2006. Netflix is a DVD by mail company. Profitable, sure, but nothing special. Their recommendation engine is mediocre, generic. You watched a comedy. Here's another comedy. So Reed Hastings does something unusual. He publicly announces a competition called the Netflix Prize. $1 million to anyone who could improve their recommendation algorithm by just 10%. 10%. That's it. The catch? Netflix released 100 million anonymous ratings from real users. Your data. Researchers and data scientists from 186 countries went to war. 3 years later, a team finally cracked it. But the real story isn't the prize. The real story is what Netflix learned from the thousands of failed attempts. They studied every submission, every algorithm, every technique, and they realized something that would change entertainment forever. Human taste isn't random. It's a pattern, and patterns can be predicted. Here's a number Netflix doesn't advertise. 80%. That's the percentage of content watched on Netflix that comes from algorithmic recommendations. Not searches, not browsing. The algorithm chose it for you. Think about that. For out of every 5 hours you spend on Netflix were directed by a machine learning model trained on billions of data points. Your watch history, your pause points, how long you hover over a thumbnail, what time you watch, what device you use, whether you're alone. Netflix processes over 1,000 ranking signals before showing you a single row of content. But competitors had data too. Blockbuster had 60 million members, massive rental histories, which leads to a question nobody was asking. Why didn't Blockbuster build their own algorithm? Because they were making $800 million a year in late fees alone. Their business model depended on friction, on you forgetting to return the DVD, on you wandering the aisles and impulse renting. An algorithm that perfectly predicted what you wanted? That was a threat to the chaos that made them money. Netflix didn't have late fees. They needed you to stay, to binge, to never leave. So they built a machine that made leaving impossible. Now, so far you've seen how Netflix weaponized data to crush a competitor that refused to adapt. But that's the public story. The second half is different, because Netflix didn't stop at recommendations. They started using AI to design the content itself. The shows, the casting, the thumbnail you see, none of it is random anymore. And the way they're doing it borders on psychological manipulation. Let me tell you about House of Cards. Netflix makes its first original series. Everyone assumed it was a creative gamble, a bold swing. It wasn't. Netflix knew, before spending a single dollar, that the show would succeed. Their data showed 3 overlapping patterns. Users who loved the original British House of Cards. Users who loved director David Fincher. Users who loved Kevin Spacey. The intersection was massive. Millions of subscribers who would statistically watch anything combining those 3 elements. Netflix didn't greenlight a vision. They greenlit a probability. Stranger Things followed the same playbook. 80s nostalgia, sci-fi horror, coming-of-age drama. The algorithm identified an underserved audience hungry for all 3. But it goes deeper. Netflix generates multiple thumbnails for every single piece of content. Then their AI tests which image makes you specifically more likely to click. If you watch romantic films, you see a thumbnail emphasizing romance. If you watch action, you see an explosion. Same show, different packaging, all automated. You're not choosing what to watch. You're being guided toward a decision the algorithm already made for you. Netflix didn't invent binge watching. They engineered it. The autoplay feature, the skip intro button, the post-credits hook that starts the next episode before you can reach the remote. These aren't convenience features. They're retention mechanics designed by behavioral psychologists and optimized by machine learning. Netflix's research found that if a user stops watching after episode 2, they have a 70% chance of canceling within 3 months. So the algorithm's job isn't just to recommend content. It's to prevent you from leaving mid-session. Here's where Blockbuster's failure becomes a lesson. They treated customers as transactions. Rent, return, repeat. Netflix treats customers as ongoing behavioral experiments. Every click, every pause, every moment of hesitation feeds the model. And the model only gets smarter. Today, Netflix has 260 million subscribers generating behavioral data across 190 countries. No competitor can replicate that dataset. The algorithm isn't just a feature anymore. It's the moat. Blockbuster didn't die because Netflix had better DVDs. They died because they couldn't imagine a world where a machine understood customers better than humans ever could. And now, that same AI playbook is spreading. Spotify uses it to curate your music. Amazon uses it to stock warehouses before you order. TikTok uses it to hold your attention hostage. The question isn't whether AI will transform your industry. It's whether you'll be the one using it, or the one destroyed by someone who does. Blockbuster had 10 years of warnings. They had the data, the customers, the capital. They just didn't believe the algorithm mattered. There is one Blockbuster left today, in Bend, Oregon. It's a tourist attraction now.